Hari Om. It's been a very long while since I have gotten onto any kind of platform or satsangs. Um, it's been about 10 months that I have moved back to India, and hence this Nuggets of Wisdom now series has not been there has not been an opportunity to start any of this, but I'm glad it's starting now. And the effort would be that there would be more of such in more quick, maybe once in 2 days or once in a day kind of a format. So let's see how it pans out. Staying here, there are a lot of limitations. Electricity, then electricity mainly. So I thought I will start with Puja Gurudev's quotations and how deep those quotations are. We will discuss on that. So when you hear a great master of the caliber of Puja Gurudev, when you listen to him, when you read his works, it often feels like every other sentence is so impactful that it becomes or it gets to the stature of being a quotation in itself. So I thought those that have inspired me, I'll take those for our discussions. That's the first part of it. The second part of it is whenever we look at these statements, they are awe inspiring, jaw dropping, sometimes look very, I wouldn't say controversial, but contradictory, or that which catches our attention, that which pulls our intellect to prod, to think through what exactly did he mean by this? Does it have a much deeper meaning to it? Does it impact our life? So this is what we will see in next few of the videos uh, of the Now series. So let's dwell into one of such. There is one very famous one of Puja Gurudev when he defines freedom. To not to do what you feel like is called freedom. To not to do what you feel like doing is called freedom. And the first time you hear it, it almost feels like, come again? What did you say? Because, when we are in our normal way of, or in our day to day interactive way of expression, we invariably define freedom as the ability to do what I feel like, when I feel like, however I feel like, however long I feel like to do, or to stop, or not to do. That is how we define it as freedom. But here he makes a statement which is a very bold statement: to not to do what you feel like doing is called freedom. There's such a amazing depth to it. To do what I feel like doing and claiming it as freedom, anybody can do it. But the actual challenge comes when I feel like doing something, I feel like screaming, I feel like yelling out on someone, I feel like expressing my anger. It is at that time when I can withdraw myself from attempting to do it or express it. It takes tremendous amount of strength and courage. That amount of strength and courage which I can apply on myself so as to not express or explode in reactions to, it's like, you're going at 150 200 miles per hour and suddenly you need to apply the brake. At that point when you apply brake in Newton's world, the momentum drags you on. The tire marks on the roads, the smoke that it generates, that's the physical world. But to be able to stop oneself from not expressing, though our mind is raging at that speed, I feel like eating something, I feel like screaming at something, I feel like doing something, all of this at that raging speed, to have the ability to put a lid on it in such a way that it doesn't impact the outside world, it doesn't impact the inside world, and I can maintain my calmness. It reminds me of Bhagwan Shiva, where he is called Neelakantha. Neelakantha means the one whose neck or throat has turned blue in color, because when the Devas and Asuras were doing the Kshira Sagara Mathana, the Milky Ocean churning of the Milky Ocean, the first thing that it produced was halahala. Halahala, a very dangerous poison, and it was left, right, center, killing everything, everyone. It was impacting the whole creation. So they requested Bhagwan Shiva, and Bhagwan Shiva very casually picked it all up, scooped it all up, and drank it. It is said that Parvati Devi ji, she stops it right here and doesn't allow it to go in and impact Bhagwan Shiva, and he doesn't allow it to come out to impact the world. I think this raging thought pattern that we usually have, where we lack our freedom, he expresses it so beautifully in such a way that it is only contestitaha, that which doesn't impact me or the outside world, remaining that serene. There was one president of US who went back to farming after his tenure. He says, he calls it as dispassion, but it nonetheless proves the point. He says, to be able to eat one roasted salted peanut and to stop, that is called dispassion. I call that as freedom. Because we don't stop until the whole bag of chips is emptied. We don't stop until that which we are munching on is done. When we are raging, we know that we have insulted the other person. We know that we have belittled the other person. We know that the other person has gotten the message, and yet my ego doesn't satisfy. I need to rub it into their face, rub their face into the mud. I I seldom find that kind of a grip on myself. To be able to have that kind of a grip where what I feel like, it is tantalizing from inside that I need to express, but to have that freedom to not be able to do that, the ability on oneself, the grip on oneself, the balance in oneself, that is called actual freedom. Now, we may claim ourselves to be free from the outside world. Are we free from inside? That is something to ponder upon. That is something to question ourselves. That is something that we have to look into deeply and develop. It is not an overnight journey, but if we recognize it, we definitely can, we will, and we must. Until next time around, Hari Om.